Hello, welcome to Minions of the Zoo. I'm the One Ton Hammer, as you can tell by my deep, imposing voice, and this is Jen.
Hello.
So, how are you, Jen?
I'm good. I was just waiting for the YouTube to actually be like, hey, hey. And I was like, oh, it did it. Good. It's
Yes,
working.
yes. There is always a delay, but that's fine. Um, we can still interact with chat. The delay is short enough that it doesn't really prevent us from doing that. So, hello to people in chat. So we have Tier, we have Blue White Scream, and we have JB. So, hello to you guys.
Hello, hello.
Uh, JB says, anybody play any cool games lately? Steam is doing their sale. I not counting my games against tier, which I'm obviously doing all the time. Not really. I started playing Fairy Solitaire just because it came up in my recommendeds, and it's like brain dead uh, fun. So I don't have to think. I can just like, is this number bigger or smaller than the one I'm supposed to click on? It is okay. I'll click on it.
I've always so listen, it's not that I know the big guns. That's more my dad's territory because he was into the hunting. I wasn't.
Okay.
And in all honesty, the one time I saw his guns, he laughed at me because I joked with him, those aren't big enough for the bears, Dad. And he was like, no, they fucking aren't.
Yeah.
So I honestly don't know the guns very well, but my buddy Blue drew these for me, and I really like them. When I try to draw guns, Terry, they tend to look like Nerf guns for some reason, and
Yes.
I think that's been a plan all along from my dad. He's like, it's not that I don't appreciate you liking that guns exist, Jen. I think we're all safer if you stick to the Nerf guns.
Yeah. Yes. I know practically nothing about guns. The closest I've come to firing a gun was there was like a carnival kind of thing where you had like an air rifle and you shot at a paper target,
Yeah, they're little
and if you
pellets.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, and like that's it. That's my one experience with a gun. See, I saw it on. I can't check what games I own. I'm streaming. uh, but yeah, that was the only thing I saw. I did with a gun was like when I was maybe like 10. I was at like the Easter show, and that was one of the things they had there. And yeah, I fired a gun at a paper target, and never again since.
In all honesty, I did better with archery because like that was one thing I was allowed to try because not every bow is created equal. Like the ones for children really are kind of light. That doesn't mean somebody skilled can't hurt you with it. That's anything that can be used as a weapon can be used as a weapon. But growing up, I was allowed to get up to a very basic compo. I think it compound. I think it wasn't more than like maybe 12 pounds at best. Like it wasn't hard to pull. Um,
Yes.
but I liked the other old fashioned bows better. Like they just aimed better, surprisingly, for something that didn't have a notch on it. They aimed.
Okay.
But when it came to other things that you could use, I really wanted my brother to show me how his slingshot worked because he had one that had
Yeah.
an arm brace, so it actually helps you study it when you go to aim,
Yes.
and
I
then you have
think
to figure out.
I think bows and arrows are way cooler than guns. I think the invention of gunpowder, as important as it was for civilization, it ruined the coolness of combat. It's swords and archers is way cooler than people just shooting guns at each other. So probably an important development for humanity, but an overall loss to entertainment in terms of watching combat.
Don't underestimate a slingshot either, especially with the
Oh
metal
yeah,
balls. Like, no, they can. Yeah, kids were messing each other up.
oh yeah. I mean, that's the fun of being a little kid is like you can get hit with a slingshot and actually be resilient enough to survive it. I mean, if I got hit with one now, I'd probably just die. But when you're like 6, it's fine.
Yeah, in hindsight, because like, if you didn't have the little metal balls, like, yeah, you'd use marbles. If you didn't have marbles, you'd use rocks. So, like,
Yeah. No, I mean slingshots are very dangerous, obviously, but um, as long as the kids don't do anything too insane, they're kind of fine. Like I I would, if I had a kid, I would, well, a son, I would let my son play with that sort of thing, but supervised.
I think it's actually good for them to do. Like, obviously supervised, you don't want to create a sociopath that goes around killing things all the
Of
time.
course,
But
yeah.
it's part of human math is to learn how to do it mentally.
Hmm.
Like, I think it's a lot of what we lose by cutting out a lot of gym and a lot of recess, like especially in
Yeah.
jungle gyms where you have to kind of think to make a game work.
Well,
Because
honestly, I think this is because the people in charge hate little boys and just
yeah,
the male sex in general, because that was actually very important for boys, especially to go through, because like as a boy, like physical strength is something that is quite evolutionarily important, and to get rid of like the one school subject where you're allowed to focus on something that boys are good at, it kind of tips their hand a bit.
yeah, it's just I've never agreed with that because like I'll admit I'm a little bit selfish, Terry.
Hmm.
As a little girl, not everybody learns the same as the I make a list for everything princesses. I know the average girl does well in school and
Hmm.
some of us can blend in with some of that, but there were times where sometimes I did better when a boy explained it because
Well,
I'm a little bit autistic.
well, the thing is, the way that school is set up is specifically tailored to the way little girls learn. And that's why you get like all the little boys, they want to run around and be rambunctious. They don't want to be confined to a seat and forced to listen patiently and sit still for 6 hours. Um, and so the reason that girls outperform boys academically is because the teaching style is custom built
Yeah.
to what little girls benefit from. If you went back to separating the schools, so you had like boys' schools and girls' schools, I think the gap would shrink significantly.
Yeah, I admit I was in favor of the boys. Like, don't get me wrong, not everything that a boy does to learn works for me, but there was a lot of
No,
times where sometimes the boy way of doing something clicked better. And I
yeah,
resented that the women always had to have their way because I was like, sometimes the diversity of thought is why some people figure out a different bridge that works for them.
whoa. That's the one kind of diversity that is not a strength gen.
Lord forbid. You know? Like
You're not allowed to think different. You're just allowed to be a different color, and you know, shoehorn women into everything. And if you can get some gay people in there as well, that's a bonus.
Yeah. Yeah, I resented that a long time ago. And then I was like, listen, sometimes the boys just succeed at things. Like there are
Yeah.
times where yeah, I would still say this to many a dude. There are times where I just like watching them do it because they have a way of doing it that I can't understand, but the results are amazing.
Yeah. Um, yeah, men and women, and especially boys and girls, are totally different in a lot of ways. And this idea that boys are defective girls, and if you just force them even harder to be little girls, then they will be. That's why society's falling to pieces.
And,
It
and, and
doesn't work.
And the unfairness of it is this idea that fathers and brothers don't let their sisters try some of that stuff. They do. They just limit it
Hmm.
to the stuff that's not going to hurt them. Because once the girl realizes that, well, no, I look like shit, or I look like a
Hmm.
retard doing this, they did. I tended to stop doing it after a certain point
Yeah,
because I stopped wanting to look
boys.
stupid.
Well, males in general are a lot more willing to embarrass themselves, because social standing is so much more important for women.
Yeah.
For them being embarrassed is way more of a negative effect than if a man is temporarily embarrassed trying something and failing. And Silver Ravenwing in chat is absolutely correct. He says it's tailored to destroy the male. Men aren't men anymore. There's no shop classes. There's no woodworking classes, all in the name of diversity. Yes, exactly. Anything that boys were good at, anything that was designed for men to be the predominant
Hey, it's cryptic.
participant was removed because you're not allowed to advantage men in any way.
He changed his name. I had to call it out.
Yeah, he says basically destroy the family dynamic, making it easier to take over. Yeah, yeah. What's his name? Yuri Bezmenov went through all of it like 40 years ago, and everyone listened to it and said, "Oh, okay, that sounds interesting. How can we make it happen faster?" And I was like, "Well, now we're here." Oh, and hello to Cryptic in chat. He's just joined us.
I also I think I'm still in the boat of most Tom girls. I'm getting that backwards because I'm reading too much. Tomboys. Most tomboys actually didn't want an invasion of a bunch of girls either.
No, of course not.
It's not about having the undivided attention of the boys. It really is about the thing that we're into at the same time.
Yeah.
It is actually the focus of like if they were. So I was never really into mechanics. I'm not that kind of Tom.
No, of course, no. There's different fields of interest.
But the ones that were, like, if they're into vehicles, if they're into talking about cars, if they've been invited into that group, that's actually what they want to talk about. They want to talk about cars.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, my dad. Sorry.
A lot of the gatekeeping of like we don't want girls in our male spaces. It's because the kind of women that usually want to join want to disrupt the place, not actually participate. If there were more like legitimately interested tomboys who were like, no, I actually just love messing with, cars, and I just want to hang out with you guys and work on vehicles, they'd probably be a lot more open to, yeah, come join us. But there's too many times it's been someone who's been like, okay, now that I'm in, can you just change everything to make it better for me? And like, not so masculine all the time. Yeah, thanks. And like that's why the resistance is built up.
It's the willingness to learn. Like my dad, for a short time was running a fly fishing club, and I think there was 9 people in total, and he made note that 2 of the people that he liked working with just happened to be the lesbians. They just owned up to it because that's what their situation was. But whenever he suggested stuff to them that might work better for them, they didn't call him like, white man telling them what to do. No, they just they would try it, and sometimes it would work, sometimes it wouldn't. And if it didn't, maybe he would give them a different suggestion for it or see what it was they did, and they'd work something out that would work. They took it seriously. Like, it was just like, okay, well, he's just, because my dad was quite a bit older than them. So he's got the age thing too, and he wasn't giving them suggestions because he thought less of them. He was literally like, okay, well, where are your strengths? Where are your faults? Because he's an engineer too. So that's kind of how he does it.
I think the problem is that a lot of the oversensitive types, they conflated, I'm giving advice because I have experience, with I'm talking down to you because you're a girl and you don't know any better. Like, no, if I am new to something and someone who's been doing it for 20 years wants to give me advice on how to do it, it's like, okay, well, obviously this person is going to know something. They've been doing it for a long time.
Well, that's why like he ended up returning respect to them, because there were times where they did actually have a little bit more knowledge than other people. So in that sense, they had a little bit more seniority. They didn't have seniority because they were lesbians or because they were female. It was because, well, they could prove to him that they had knowledge on something. And he was like, well, with all respect, you can do that. That's cool. And that's how you get respect from people is, can you do this?
Just quickly, Frosted in chat says, judging by how little we've seen him, his theory is that Hammer is the current Ayatollah of Iran, which fortunately not. I do think he will be back in like 1 to 2 weeks. It sounds like he's progressing well, so I'm pretty sure that you'll only have to endure maybe 1 or 2 more streams with me, and then order will be restored, and we can go back to the way things are supposed to be. It's and Frosted Glass is probably AI. No. According to Tia, I'm the AI, not Hammer. And Tia says that's why he gatekeeps like a Cerberus. Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I think you need to make sure that the people joining your hobby are joining for legitimate reasons and not because they want to, subvert it.
I joked about that earlier, Tier. I did. Terry was there. He heard me do it. I was just like, so can I ask Tier, what's it like to have hair that has been in a room that's extremely humid, where it might get a little bit greasy because you've been making something called a potion, so it's kind of a chemistry, maybe a little bit like cooking gross shit in a pot kind of a room. How is that like? And I don't know if you've ever had dreads, but if you can imagine somebody with dreads, but they've been in that kind of a room, are they going to be tight and shiny and clean?
Yes. Well, I am by no means a hair expert, so I will leave it to Tia to.
I just know he's into that one, So like for gatekeeping things that we should have gatekeeped harder, but we failed at, Yeah, I didn't think so.
And Silver Ravenwing says, "Is this because I'm black? I had no idea you were black. I'll have to stop being friends with you."
No, I was asking Tier because I know some of the nerddoms he's into.
Yeah. No, I was just making fun because Silver Ravenwing, as far as I'm aware, is actually white, but he's just like joking around. Frosted says, "I make sure only people really interested join my hobbies. Also, they have to be white." I mean, probably not a bad idea. Is like maybe just have that extra little bit of scrutiny if one of the tier toned individuals wishes to join. Silver Ravenwing says he's not black, but he does play a black guy in one of his games. Oh, fair enough.
Can't have more than one.
I can't have more than one black friend, or I can't be called racist. Oh, I can be called racist. Oh, well, I will earn that racism badge, come hell or high water. It doesn't matter who I'm friends with. I'll find a way. There's I actually, this is tangential, but there's a VTuber called Mizuki, and I actually watched her on Kick, and she's got auto mod set up, and I was getting censored like crazy. It was like worse than YouTube. And it was just so funny. It's like everything I say is like deleted by moderator, deleted by moderator, deleted by moderator. I'm like, okay, well, I guess I can't really say too much in this chat. And Silver Ravenwing says, if I go to work on time, I'm racist. Well, the problem there is I'm not going to get a job just to perform that particular racism. I will just call people diggers or maggots. That's not racist, but it's sort of in the field of social.
In Ark Survival, we used to call them the Gigas, because once the Gigas move into a neighborhood, your neighborhood is screwed. They eat everything.
So Silver Raven says if you eat PB and jelly, you're racist. Now I'm pretty sure PB is lead, so you shouldn't be eating that. Don't eat lead just to be racist. That's not how you win. That's just suicide. Don't do that.
I don't know how to spell that properly, but I just wanted to clarify to YouTube because I don't speak Latin.
Yes.
Wish I did, but I don't.
YouTube. Yes. Oh, and he's clarifying peanut butter. Well, that is more edible than lead. I will grant you that. I've never thought to mix peanut butter and jelly. I've heard that Americans like it.
It's good. Yeah, it's weird. It shouldn't be, but it's good.
But yeah, it's not something that I have eaten or really want to eat. I'm happy to live my life without it.
Are you really big on peanut butter in the first place? It's actually one of those things where when I used to watch exchanges of like candy exchanges, the boxed stuff, and between the UK and Australia, you guys are like, why do you obsess over peanut butter to the North Americans?
I can eat peanut butter. Like if I'm visiting family and my mum says, "Do you want a peanut butter sandwich?" I won't say no, but if she says, "What do you want on your sandwich?" my answer is unlikely to be peanut butter. Um, yeah, it's one of those things where I'm sure the people that uh, like it, but it's not something that is on my radar as something that I would ever want to try.
You're in bad luck. The last time Reese's Pieces had the right recipe was like probably 15 years ago. So if somebody sends that shit to you now, it's the Soylent version.
Yeah, yes,
So
nothing.
yeah,
Um,
you'd actually be better off trying. You have people in your own country who make candy. You'd be better off trying their version because it's a better mix, and their peanut
so
butter is going to taste fresh.
and Frosted says he saw on Twitter that fluffernutters aren't a thing outside of Massachusetts. You guys know what they are, right? Well, I know a fluffer is the guy that gets like male porn stars hard so that they can perform their duties. So I'm guessing a fluffer nutter is someone who's a little too effective and actually exceeds their intended goal and has to wash their mouth out.
Sometimes I make my own peanut butter cookies. Canada does do peanut butter too, but it's a pantry thing.
Okay.
I'm not blaming this on the US. I'm saying this is like Canadian culture. A lot of Canadian culture is pantry and freezer because we don't want to go out of our house any more than we have to in the winter. It's pretty standard. If I don't have to leave my house and I can put more things in my pantry, which peanut butter lasts for a very long time, and it works in a lot of different recipes. So like if you like a lot of baked goods, it does a lot of multiple things because of the nut it is.
That is one of the greatest things about Vegemite. It lasts forever. It does not go off. It's basically concentrated salt. You can buy a thing of Vegemite. 50 years down the line, you can probably still eat it. It doesn't spoil. It's immune.
Yeah, like the amount of things up here where like you could tell where our mindset is, and it's just like if I don't have to leave my house.
Yeah. Well, never leave the house. Don't go outside. It's not worth it.
So yeah, that's all it is. And when you realize that chocolate and peanut butter, yeah, it actually tastes pretty good together. So that's why there's a million candies with it in it.
I have had that. I have had chocolate and peanut butter. That's fine. Blue Ice Cream says peanut butter may be an American thing. I mean, we have peanut butter in Australia. It's just not something that I've eaten. I mean, when I was a kid, I ate it all the time because that's what Mum put on the sandwiches. But, I mean, it's not something that I seek out. It's not something that I tend to crave or anything. And Frosted says peanut butter and marshmallow fluff sandwich. No, I've never had that.
See, if I wanted to cheat at making my own pretzels, I would use Vegemite. It's technically Marmite, but I don't always get Marmite, and
it's weird. I tried Marmite when I was in England. It does not taste like Vegemite at all.
no.
Like they're completely different. I can understand why people would compare them because both of them end in mite and they do look fairly similar, but they don't taste anything at all the same. I was shocked.
I would be doing it for the yeast factor, like more than because like you're not wrong. Vegemite is more of the salt flavor.
Yeah.
Whereas Marmite, they're more going for the yeast flavor. I
Yeah,
think that's what they explained it to me as. I'm not sure if I got that right.
No,
There's probably some Brit in the chat yelling at me.
No, I went to England for a few months because my family was living there, and while I was there, I had a Marmite sandwich because that's what they had. They bought Marmite, and like this is not Vegemite at all. This is like very very different. I was Because I was expecting it to be slightly different, not completely different. And Thierry's saying Vegemite is an interest food, definitely an acquired taste. Yeah, yeah. I mean, if I didn't eat it all the time as a kid, I probably wouldn't like it. It's exceptionally salty.
And then there's Canadian food where like a lot of our thinking is based off of like can we make this more easy access?
I thought you were going to say, can we put maple syrup on this?
That too. So the reason, Terry, you will find the Canadian bacon up here is a round circle is because what they do is they take a piece of back bacon, like a really good piece of back bacon, and then they cut out the middle part, so you just get the circle. And then they put a rind around that shit. So then we sell that to the Americans because on a pizza where you're making a Hawaiian pizza, it makes sense because it fits on a circle and a circle and a circle with pineapple on top.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It is absolutely a butchery of back bacon. Like if you want to make a better like pizza in general, use the actual back bacon because the dark meat's actually better than the middle part.
Fair enough.
But what the Americans get is the middle part.
I trust the restaurant to know how to make a pizza. I am not going to give them advice. I will just, I want a pizza. How you guys make it is your business. As long as when I eat it, it is good. So.
Well, in all honesty, in the U.S., the Italians that are already are American now, but have heritage from Italy. They have way better cuts of bacon. So go with those. Just go with a really good cut of bacon. Like if you're going to put bacon on anything,
yes.
Use the good
my
stuff.
rule is anything that I need to cook that I can't microwave, I'm not even going to bother with. Someone else can do the cooking, and then I will do the eating. And I will pay you for the arduous labor of cooking and delivering, but I will not cook myself unless it's microwaving. I can microwave stuff.
Well, I highly recommend that you don't cook yourself. That's a weird kind of cannibalism.
Well, I mean, I'm sure that I'm sure that eating yourself has been the aspiration of many a young man. I mean, the rumor was that Marilyn Manson had ribs removed so he could do that. So Frosted says, if we called it peanut butter mite, would I eat it then? I mean, I'd eat it once. If it's good, I'd eat it more. Silver Ravening, The Yeast Factory is a spin-off of Fear Factor starring Joe Rogan. Okay, I mean, that's something to watch if you run out of options.
That's something that could actually just be in your neck of the woods too, though, Terry. Like, I'm not blaming anything on Australia, but if your trade lines are anything like ours, you do compete with other networks for like peanuts, and peanuts are really kind of expensive right now because a lot of countries really want the oil more than they want the peanut butter.
Right.
So a lot of our peanut butter has actually really gone down in quality, especially since our childhood. Like a lot of people have changed brands over the years because like they've noticed like if you leave your peanut butter for a certain amount of time, you do get a natural oil at the top. You're supposed to remix it into your peanut butter. Like the more oil that's in there, it's actually better for your peanut butter because it tastes better. Like that's a lot of the flavor is the oil.
Mm-hmm.
But if you know that you are right next to a trade route where honestly you make more money by selling the oil to the other countries than you do by selling the paste, you're going to get the boring peanut butter. Like it's boring.
And JB says, so Terry can't make pancakes. Unless you can microwave them, no. I mean, I theoretically could. I'm sure if I got a recipe and the appropriate, cooking utensils, like a pan or whatever. Sure, I'm sure I could follow the instructions and make them, but I can also just pay money to someone else and then they make them, and then I don't have to do that part. And Corsten says hello to WR Corsten. Frosted is blaming things on Australia. That's probably wise. A lot of things is just blame us.
Well, it's just that's something I would do too. Like if I was international trade and you knew that your people were like, well, peanut butter's okay, but meh.
Yeah,
But your trading partners would rather like sell you a lot of money for oil. Like I would sell it to them too. So
yeah. You sell the thing that people want to buy. That's just common sense. Like if you get more money by selling peanut butter oil, so peanut oil than peanut butter, then sell peanut oil. That's just common sense. And Six is joined us in chat, who is saying that you are 7.62 times 39 caliber, and I am a size 10.5 shoe. So our new identities have been assigned by Six. And and Keishel says hello. Hello to Keishel.
now on the other hand, Terry, this is something I'm making up in my head because I don't know if it's true or not. And I don't dislike coconut, but if I lived in your neck of the woods, I might resent the coconut products.
Okay. Yeah, coconut's okay. I can eat coconut. It's not something that I would go crazy for. It's just like if something happens to have coconut in it, that's cool. I mean, it tastes nice, but I'm not going to go out of my way.
I just don't know if they did this to you. They tried it up here where there was a lot of like we really want to switch over to a lot of coconut oil, and like everybody that I knew who I had a lot of coworkers who were from the Philippines, and they're like, listen, we don't think it's wrong that you try it, but we think the amount you're eating is going to cause you constipation.
Yeah. Well, too much of anything is probably a bad idea. So
Yeah. Like,
if you're eating something and it's making you sick, then maybe don't eat it so much. JB says bounty bars are good. Yes, they are. That's pretty much the primary means by which I would consume coconut. And Six likes pina coladas and getting caught in the rain.
And I don't mind the drink. Like I said, I'm not knocking coconut itself, but like it's there was a point where I was finding a lot more coconut oil and everything, and I was like, there's kind of a point to if you eat too much coconut, you can find yourself constipated if you're not used to eating it, So
yeah, I mean, eat too much of anything that's not good for you.
And I'm just letting you know, some of the people I worked with from the Philippines they're super polite, like they're super nice. So having like a super nice person say that to you is just, I find that funny.
Yes. Blue Ice Cream says coconut is fine. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I think it tastes nice, but it's not something that I'm going to go out of my way to obtain. It's like, if it's present, it's fine. If it's not, it's also fine. Silver Red Wing wants 2 pina coladas. Okay. Here we go. Rupert Holmes was never constipated, according to Six. I am going to avoid asking how you know this. I think it is better that I continue to live in ignorance. Remember when Monkey would drink on stream? That was funny, but a bad idea. Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's a good idea to eat or drink on stream. But if you stream for as long as like a lot of professional streamers do, it's kind of a necessity. Because I was watching Mizuki stream over on Kick, and she had to, she streams for like 5 hours, 8 hours, so she had to like stop occasionally to eat and drink. And it's like, but what's the alternative? Frosted says, I bet the cast of Gilligan's Island was always constipated. Again, I will let you keep your sources. I am not going to inquire. I don't want to know how you are discovering this information.
I don't know that it's always necessarily the coconut. Like, I think they had 2 opinions. Like, it was either like if you eat too much, there's a good chance it might cause constipation problems. But then there's also like some people will overdo things to the point where even if it was a diet food, they're still going to get fat.
Yeah. Well, I mean, from what I've heard, the diet stuff tends to increase your appetite. Like the stuff that they're using to artificially sweeten food instead of sugar actually increases your appetite. So even if the sweetener itself is less, less calories, you end up overeating as a compensation, and you end up eating more, and that's how a lot of people can gain weight from like NutraSweet or whatever other fancy fake sweeteners you have out there.
Yeah, it was a lot of that. Like, it was a lot of exploring for my brother. Like, because I tried to get snacks for him that weren't necessarily as high in sugar or high in so and so oils and things like that. Because like between medications that he was on, like becoming type 2 is not the same as type 1. So like some things he doesn't need to worry about, some things he does. And out of fairness to him, I would try snacks with him because some of these snacks are kind of expensive and they're a hit and a miss on whether or not they taste very good.
Okay.
And so sometimes you'll have things that have like coconut sugar or different kind of like agave sugars, that kind of stuff. Because yes, they do. Some of those will some of those can cause your system to run a little bit faster because they're a different sugar. They're not as high in sugar. Sometimes they process different, so you might poop a little bit more. It's like the Haribo bears. Like you're only supposed to eat 8 of them. They don't tell you that on the package, but you've got people who are used to eating a whole package of gummy bears. So they're thinking that this diet thing that they're eating is fine. They're used to eating a whole bag of them. It was stuff like that I would go through with trying some of this stuff. And it's not like any of this stuff is actually bad. It's not that they're bad. It's more of just people don't know how to use them in like real food.
Yeah. I remember when I was working for the bank, someone was amazed. They thought I was like super genius level diet master, because they were saying that the bar, like the snack bar that they were eating, had no fat in it, and I said, yeah, but it's probably got a lot of sugar. That's how they make them taste good. If there's no fat, it's like how can it have fat if there's how can it have sugar if there's no fat? And like, there's no fat in sugar. It's like, then if you eat it, why do you get fat? It's like, how am I having this conversation? They're like, okay, if you eat sugar, it gives you energy. If you don't use that energy, your body converts it into fat as as storage. And they're like amazed. They're like, this is like genius level insight. It's like, I should become a dietitian. It's like, I'm pretty sure I learned this in primary school. This isn't advanced knowledge.
It was pretty much like that. Like don't get me wrong, there's still some things that we do for Chris where obviously we go sugar free. Like because he really likes energy drinks, we just do as best we can to get the zero version of whatever's we can find. But like a lot of the sugar-free stuff, or like we avoid the vegans, because the vegans, unless they're actually ethnic foods, like you can go to India and get sauces where they didn't use any meat products.
Do not go to India. Do not.
Obviously
go to
don't.
India.
But like I'm just saying, recipes from there where they didn't use any meat products to make a sauce, you can actually get stuff like that. But
and I just want to correct Frosted in chat. He says, "How did we get on a 10-minute tangent about how to stay regular while eating coconuts?" We can't go on a tangent if there's no main topic. This is this stream of consciousness. There's no structure. There's no main point that we've deviated from. This is just we talk until it becomes 1 o'clock my time, and then we stop talking. That's the stream. So there's no, it's not a tangent. It's just where the conversation went.
Once upon a time, Sanguines shared a song with me from the Philippines that went on about how a coconut wasn't really a nut. It's actually a fruit.
Yeah.
It got stuck in my head. And I lost it for a long time, in all honesty. I haven't heard it in a long time. And then I met a guy from the Philippines, and I was like, shit, he's got 2-year-olds. I'm going to send him this song.
Yeah, Sanguine played that song when I was there as well. I think he likes it.
Yeah.
And then, Frosted was saying if he went to India, he wouldn't use the bathroom the entire time he was there. For those who don't know, that's a Seinfeld reference. And it's And Silver Raven Wing doesn't want anyone to listen to douchey food influencers. Yeah, if anyone calls themselves an influencer, that alone is grounds to not listen to them ever. Just don't listen to anyone who self-identifies as an influencer. That is good advice that will get you through life. You can trust me, I'm an influencer.
I mean, we did talk about different things. I mean, I teased here about stuff that he's unrelated to just because I knew it would irritate him. I didn't even call it out. He knew what I was talking about.
Yeah.
And then before that, well, we were talking about other things before that too.
And Tia says Hammer is the bringer of order for this stream. Well,
Yes.
he's the one who actually has topics that he will like plan in advance. And honestly, if this was like if I was going to be permanently the host, then I might have to do that. But if I'm just filling in until Hammer gets back, then I'm not going to go to that much effort. I'm kind of I'm the band-aid taped over the gaping wound until the doctor can get back to stitch it together. So yeah, don't expect too much out of me in terms of planning these streams out.
Well, that's just it. Hammer tags things. Like sometimes I remember articles that I read, but
yeah,
I do remember one.
but,
if you want, I could cover it real quick. It's not a big one, and I can't cover much of it. It's a shorty.
Sure. What is the article about?
So for one thing, there's no actual article because up in Canada they don't tell us when we have plane crashes anymore because we always assume it has to do with DEI. This one I don't think was necessarily DEI. It's more of just like the way it ended. So two people died. It was the pilot, and then I guess there was a fire truck guy who was in the wrong place at the wrong time, literally, because they were telling him you're not supposed to be there, and he was. And if he misunderstood something, it was like the pilot was French. I'm like, well, yeah. I'm like, if you're from New York, you should know that some people from Canada speak French.
Yes, I would imagine so.
But
I know that some people in Canada speak French. So if I know it, people in America should definitely know it.
Here's the thing, though. Only one person seems to be majorly harmed. Like, I'm not saying other people haven't been because, an angle of a plane, there's probably people who were very harmed. But out of the reports, there's only 2 actual deaths. No one has died thus far other than the 2. And I am sorry for the 2 because, like, there was a young pilot and it was a young driver in the truck. But it could have been a hell of a lot worse. And maybe the DEI is miscommunication, but at the same time, though, that's one of those ones where I'm not going to accept that because Canada and the US have existed beside each other for a really long time. So French people, not new to you guys.
Yeah. I mean, it's always a tragedy when like something like this happens, but
yeah, I'm not laughing at their deaths, by the way. I'm glad that less people were harmed in this one than could have happened. So I actually give credit to the drivers because it could have been worse. Like if you know that there's only so much you can do, the outcome was as good as he could have asked for. So, sir, I'm sorry for your loss. I'm sorry for your family's loss. But thank God you landed in a way where less people were harmed. Yeah.
Terry is Mum's new boyfriend after your parents' divorce. Now and then you have to remind him he's not your real dad. Well, fortunately, I am not anybody's dad. That is something I am. I am safe from propagating the world with even more versions of me. That you can rest assured there is no mini Terry out there in the world anywhere.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if you heard more about it, JB, but over here, like I heard about it on Twitter before I heard it anywhere. I'm not saying that they don't have news reports now, but at the time I was just like, and then I was grateful that no one really got hurt because, when it's between us and the US, that's usually a mixed plane, Terry, which means it could be any of our family members,
Right.
So obviously we're going to be like, check, make sure. Yeah, I don't know anyone who would be flying right now, and then you feel better. But at the same time, that's why we would kind of glue in on that one. But I don't like that there's my brain always hypes up the planes, because I assume them as being rare,
Yeah,
because they're supposed to be. And then
of
ever
course.
since the DEI stuff, I'm like, mm.
Yeah. I mean, was it Charlie Kirk who got in trouble for saying that he wouldn't trust a female or a black pilot because the standards were lower? And like that's smart. I agree with him. It's like if you see a white guy as the pilot, then you know it's someone who had to overcome the actual standards. Whereas if it's a black woman, it's like, well, I mean, did they just give her the job because she's a black woman? And like, I'm not sure how safe it is.
Criticisms of Air Canada CEO. I think it's I don't know if it's Air Canada. I think my criticisms were basically a lot of mostly X related stuff, because there's people on X who are just automatically blaming the Americans for this stuff. Like they're like, oh well, it's their fault. Trump did cuts to this and this when he actually hasn't. And then they're like, well, they were short staffed, so like they didn't get messages on time when it sounds like they probably did, but it was just overlap or maybe misunderstanding, because that is the scary thing with the planes. Like when you look into some of these stories, sometimes it is just a split-second misunderstanding, and that's
Yeah,
all it takes. And even with some of the DEI hires, that's been the case too. But at the same time, the fact that there's so many and that there is so much, like I said, between the US and Canada, and even between our own provinces, sometimes there is a good chance that if I were to speak to someone from Quebec, I wouldn't understand them. I know they're from Quebec and not France. That's as good as I can go. That doesn't
mm.
mean I understand what they're saying.
Yeah. I don't speak French, so if anyone was speaking any version of French at me, I wouldn't understand them. Whether it's Canadian French or French or whatever
So
other Frenches are out there in the world, I don't understand any of them.
So from my perspective, I shouldn't be hired to do air traffic because I can't understand them. I actually do agree
Yeah,
with that, because you should understand them enough to be able to be like, can we land? Are we good? Wait a
those
little
are
bit.
important. Those are important pieces of information. Yes.
That's all stuff I would need to be able to do. So, like, no, I wouldn't
Yeah.
accept myself in there. I would be
Oh,
DEI. So,
yeah. I mean, I shouldn't be there either. I don't speak French. It's like, I wouldn't know what the hell they were talking about.
so I worry about that. Like, would they hire somebody like me just because I have tits, but they can't speak French properly? No, please don't. Like,
And JB says it's not rare. It's science. Planes fall out of the sky. That not very often. I mean, I can understand being scared of flying because humans can't fly, by their own volition. So getting into a big flying box is kind of daunting. But I've been on planes plenty of times. It's not scary. It's really like once you overcome the initial, holy crap, I am like 30, like 10 kilometers above the ground. That's kind of freaky. But by the second or third time you're in a plane, it's like, yeah. It's like standard. It's like not that interesting anymore. But he says he hates X. Those people are literal retards. Well, I'm very literal, and I'm also kind of a retard, so I take offense to that.
well, I also don't necessarily I don't necessarily take all my news from X. Like, I might take clues that something happened from X, because sometimes it's the quickest way where you'll find that, yeah, people are already sending links to something happening.
Yes.
But I don't necessarily follow those as being the God-given truth of what the story is. I just know that, okay, something has happened, and I'm going to keep a lookout for what has, if
Yeah.
not Google my own, or even talk to you guys, because you would be
I
amazed at how many times just waiting to talk to somebody from Ontario gets me more information than just waiting for news online.
Yeah. I mean, I get my news from Twitter and YouTube basically, but the thing is, I don't believe the news. So, um, I believe that the news is like the general gist of what's happening, but I don't trust them for anything beyond that. So, if I saw this article on Twitter, I'd be like, okay, so there probably actually was a plane crash, and literally everything else they've said about it is bullshit.
Well, the truth is, Costin and JB aren't likely to lie to me. They might not know everything, and that
No,
I have no pressure on them to know everything, but they're not
no,
likely to just lie to me about this stuff. And that's what I have a problem with our media on is they're so
yeah.
like, well, it's Trump's fault. And I'm like, I don't know. I'd rather see what's actually going on because there's a lot of reasons. They're not wrong in the chat. Like there are a lot of reasons a plane can crash.
No, when I say don't trust Twitter and YouTube, I don't mean our friends. Obviously, you can trust your friends. I mean if you see random Twitter account reporting the news, like I don't know, so I don't know, some dude is like said, oh here's a story out of California. Apparently, they did something crazy. It's like okay, the very basic frame is probably mostly true, but just that's it. Like there probably was actually a plane crash in this situation, but don't rely on Twitter or YouTube for the actual specifics. It's just
And you're
don't.
not and you're not wrong, Costin. It's not so much believing you guys over anyone else. It's more of just one, you're less likely to lie about me. Like, A, if you didn't know something, you don't know. And
Yeah,
and for two, it's more of like, okay, well, I heard this, okay, well, if you heard something that sounds crazy from anything else I've heard, that means there's conflict in the story.
yes.
And that's
Hello,
more than a
Johnny
lot
Hellcat.
that's more than what a lot of people are willing to offer,
Johnny Hellcat has joined us in chat. Hello to Johnny Hellcat. And Corson says, "How about believing nobody? Is that okay?" Yes, that is absolutely approved behavior. Believe nobody.
Yeah, it's just kind of
He
how it
says he
is.
lives in an igloo.
Igloo.
And yeah, did you hear what this Republican said? See, we told you they're evil. Showed full context. It doesn't matter. That's what he said. Yeah. Look, I don't care about politicians. I just assume they're all evil and corrupt. Even the ones that are quote unquote on my side are evil and corrupt. They just happen to agree with me on certain issues. Um, the one exception that I'm willing to make is Pauline Hanson, who is leader of the One Nation Party down here in Australia. And only reason I would make her an exception is her message has been unbelievably unpopular for 30 years, and she has never once backed down from it. Like if she wanted to do the corrupt politician thing, she would have abandoned her position 30 years ago and just gone along with the crowd. She never did. She was the one of the most ridiculed people in all of Australian television, and she stuck to her guns no matter what. So, if nothing else, I genuinely believe she has the conviction behind what she's saying. Now, she might end up being evil and corrupt once she gets power, but I believe she genuinely does believe what she's saying. I think she's coming from a genuine principled position and not just crowd pleasing, because if she was trying to do that, she did it terribly. She was one of the most despised and ridiculed people in all of Australian television for decades. So I will give her credit for that.
Who else but an Albertan Costin would dare to put stupid guns on their flower?
Yes.
I don't have those.
Frosted says, just got back. Who are you talking about? I was talking about Pauline Hanson. She is the leader of the One Nation Party down here in Australia. Very, very despised by, normies, for want of a better phrase. The people who get all their information from the television, they think she is the single most racist and evil person that has ever existed, which is why I like her. I think good on her. Keep doing that, and I'll keep voting for you.
No, I would too at this point. It's like, well, because at this point, all of those words and things that they call everybody else hold no meaning anymore because they keep using them wrong.
Yeah.
And they keep using them for everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I think a lot more people are in that mindset, and they're terrified of that.
Frosted Glass says, I'm intrigued. What did she do? I'm tempted to say two chicks at the same time, but I will actually answer the question. She has had a very strong anti immigration stance. Like, One Nation is the name of her party. She wants, like, one people to be in Australia. She wants the immigrants out. And she believed that even in the 90s when, yeah, that was a very controversial position to have back then. But she held it. She didn't back down, and she's still anti-immigration to this day. And the people are finally catching up and saying, actually, yes, we do want to stop immigration and get rid of all the foreigners. So now her party is actually really picking up steam. She's actually because the two major parties used to be Labor and Liberal. Liberal is dead. One Nation has basically replaced Liberal as the second major party. That is how much steam they've picked up just this election cycle in the last few years. So she has done extremely well recently.
Yeah, a lot of us are kind of in the same mindset, and you can only repeat yourself so much. Sorry, we're tired of this constant invasion of ideology and things that we don't want. We don't like how it's holding us back. We don't like the future that we're creating for our kids. We're tired of the overreach. We're tired of the unapologetic criminals
Yeah,
constantly being in charge of our countries. We're tired of our money being wasted on everybody else but ourselves while we watch everything that we've spent generations building become destroyed by people who don't give a fuck about us and chant to kill us a lot of the time. And we're tired of the backstabbing.
So to address chat, where was it? Uh, Frosted says, "Oh, so she's reasonable." Yes, that's why I like her. And Blue White Scream says she's like, "I told you so." She hasn't been that bloaty from what I've seen. She's just glad that her party is finally gaining popularity. And Frosted says, "Is One Nation actually right wing or just right wing for Australia?" As far as I mean, the only policy of theirs that I even know is anti-immigration, and that's enough. That is enough to get my vote. She's the only party that's against immigration, so I will vote for her and literally nobody else. So yeah, I don't know the rest of her policies. She's probably only right wing by Australian standards. That's fine. She wants the foreigners out of the country, and so do I. So that's enough. That's all I ask.
Yeah, it's just like that. And anybody with sense who understands our position knows we're not talking about legal immigrants. We're talking about
Well,
illegal immigration. And
honestly, legal ones get out too. Just get rid of all of them. But also hello to Green Badger Outdoors before I forget. Hello to Green Badger. But no, I mean even the legal ones, yeah, just get rid of them too. I think yeah, if you weren't born here and yeah, just go home. That, it's like the Happy Gilmore thing. Are you too good for your home? Go home. Silver Raven says it's sad that illegal immigration is a huge problem everywhere except Poland. Yeah, I mean, it's always going to be. Um, Australia used to be pretty good because we're an island. It's pretty hard to sneak into the country. You will get spotted. Unfortunately, our politicians are evil and corrupt. If you check your notes, I did mention that, and so they actually want the illegal immigrants here, and so we could stop them, but we don't.
yep.
And Blue Eyed Stream says that's high praise coming from me. Yeah. I mean, I don't like a lot of things, but when I like something, yeah, I'll tell you. Yes, and Silver Ravening 2020 existed. We know how corrupt Australia is. Exactly. I mean, need any more be said?
The other thing too is I think people are feeling braver about talking about this stuff. Like before, it was so much easier to shame people into not expressing their opinion on it, and it's just now it's like, listen, I was open-minded 20 years ago because I was young and naive, and I didn't know the world as well as I do now. And now that I know the world better, it does. This experiment doesn't work. It's failed.
Yes. I unironically think Elon buying Twitter was one of the single most significant events in terms of breaking the stranglehold that they had over the message. Because the whole point of propaganda is not to convince you that you're wrong. It's to convince you that you're the only one that thinks the way you think. And so if you think, well, everyone else seems to like it, I'm the crazy one, you're not going to try and rebel because, well, the whole country would be against you. Twitter allowed people to realize, oh, it's not just me. The whole fucking country also hates this. And so people are becoming more and more aware of, okay, I'm not the crazy one. They're just peddling bullshit and trying to, subjugate the people through misinformation. It's like, okay. So I think that's why people are getting a lot more confident to express opinions that they would have been terrified to mention 20 years ago, because they can see that there's like-minded people out there, and it's easy to find them.
It's also a lot of what the elites have been doing over the last 10 years has a lot of people scared enough to know that if we don't actually start getting our shit together, we're probably going to be really hella screwed.
Yeah.
Like, it's not to keep bringing it on, but like that's just the truth of it. Like, the more that we let things slide, the more that they push us to see how much we'll tolerate.
Oh, of course, yeah.
The more they're bullying.
Point is like, they keep pushing until they get resistance. It's like, okay, we found the line. Let's stay just behind the line until everyone gets used to this position, and then we'll make another encroachment later. And then that way they can just keep extending the line.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently Frosted actually got Grok to sum up One Nation's policies, and he basically approves. So, excellent. And good to hear. And Tier is saying that I don't exist. Well, I mean, sure, Australia doesn't exist. That's common knowledge. Everyone knows that.
I actually get why you don't care, and I think that's the best way that you should be right now, because you don't have time to be. Like if you have to work and hey, these are just your moments of entertainment, and we're not meaning to be downers about all this shit. Like, there's times in Canada, there's times in Australia. We're not that bad off. I would say the things that inflame us most is like if I go to the grocery store, I get inflamed.
Yeah.
But that's I want to plan food for my month. But like there are times where a lot of my my anger is knowing that so much of my city is a dump hole, when I do have memories of it in the 80s and the 90s and the 2000s when it was in better shape. And knowing how much we do pay in taxes.
Yes.
And knowing why that's like that. And then looking into my country and how much worse it is I feel very bad for Ontario. I really do. Like, there's times where I've seen things in Ontario, I'm like, how you guys don't riot more? I'm not instigating. Do not do that.
Right. Well, on that revolutionary note, we have actually hit our time. I suppose there's technically less than a minute left, but thank you all for coming and joining us. Thank you to Jen for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, we will see you guys next week. See you later, guys.
Yep, probably the same time, guys.